And we're back. Greetings and welcome to the 16th edition of Big Bad Bat Reps. This week has my Beastmen going up against my friend Kyle's Bretonian army. It's Mr. Malorian's around the world in 12 games. Flavor of the month this month is Beastmen. I figured what better chance than to bust my guys out. Kyle was down at the shop. We are still kind of doing 2,200 point prep games for the North Star GT at Fantasy Flight Games at the end of this month. And we rolled up a battle for the past scenario. Kind of sad, I got a lot of combat troops, and he's got a lot of fast stuff and some shooty stuff. So I'm a little bit further away than I'd like to be. But anyways, let's check out the lists. My Beastmen army, if you remember, it's not that different from ones I've been running in the past. It's led by a level 4 Great Bray Shaman who knows the lore of death. He has the Fencer's Blades, giving him weapon skill 10, Talisman of Endurance, Dispel Scroll, and an Iron Curse icon. I also have a Wargore BSB, Heavy Armor, Enchanted Shield, Gnarled Hide, Dawnstone. That gives him a 1-up rerollable armor. Got 6 Chariots, 2 units of 6 Ungor Raiders. I'm going to hold one of them in Beastmen Ambush. Unit of 29 Best Friends, full command Standard of Discipline, that's where the Great Bray goes. And a unit of 29 with Musician and Banner of Swiftness, that's where my BSB goes. I also got 2 Razor Gores and a Gorgon. And you can see I'm deployed pretty centrally there. And we'll see what Kyle has. I can see a little bit. Kyle's got two Night Lances going on there, but his army is led by a Bretonnian Lord who has the armor of having weapon skill 10, some skill that lets him reroll the wound, and heroic killing blow. He's got a level 4 damsel, or whatever their super sorceress lady's called. She's running heavens with the dispel scroll. He also has BSB, enchanted shield, sword of anti-heroes, and a bunch of paladins. One's got a great weapon, Gromrel Great Helm, great weapon Dragon Helm, paladin with a lance, and a paladin with a lance and a Morning Star. He's also got a unit of 8 Knights of the Realm, Standard of Discipline, that's where his BSB and Damsel are going. 22 Men-at-Arms, Halberd Shield, Standard Musician. 2 units of 10 Archers with the Brazers and the Stakes. He's got a unit of 9 Knights Errant, that's where his General goes, and a Paladin or 2. 3 Peg Knights and 2 Trebuchets. He also has 2 units of 5 Mounted Yeomen. Good list. Here's a look. It's a little bit of a blurry photo here, but you can see Kyle's left flank. He's got his Trebuchet in the back, the 3 Peg Knights behind those woods, unit of 10 Archers with Brazers and Stakes there, and the Mounted Yeomen. Those 2 characters just to the left of the forest there, that is a Paladin with a Lance and a Paladin with a Lance and a Morning Star, so they're kind of out being chaffy and can pack quite a bit of a punch on the charge, so we'll see what they can do. On Kyle's left flank, you can see he has his big lance in the middle there. That is the Knights of the Realm. His BSB is in there. He also has the Paladin. I know at least one Paladin with a great weapon. I think another Paladin. And his level 4 is also in there. His unit of 22 Men-at-Arms. 5 Yeomen in the front, being played this game by Illyrian Reavers. And his Trebuchet. And next to that, you'll see the 9 Knights Errant, who his General is in there. That's the white guy on the left in the front rank. Then he also has 1 or 2, I think, Paladins in there as well. Little look at my battle line. I got a lot of drops and a lot of units, so the battle for the pass is kind of a tough one for me because it condenses down my deployment zone. Not that I like to spread it out that far, but sometimes I like to layer my things. We had kind of set up terrain. I always like to set it up to look nice. Nice aesthetically for the battle reports, but then we rolled battle for the pass, so it kind of got a little bit traffic jammy, but that's okay. My 2 big units there in the middle, and the Gorgon. Another look at other deployment I got on my left flank. I got those 3 Chariots. The Ungor Raiders are behind that house, actually. Another Chariot just on the other side. There's that Chariot I was talking about. The 2 units of Bestigors dead center. I want to keep those guys pretty close-knit. And the Gorgon, there's a little, you can see the Razor Gore's butt there hiding behind that hut. For magic, my level 4 Death gets Spirit Leech, Caress of Laneth, Doom and Darkness, and Fate of Buna. So I pretty much got 3 snipe spells and -3 leadership. We're starting kind of far away, so we'll have to see if I can get up in there and do something with these. But other than that, I'll just be, I guess, flinging Doom and Darkness until I can get in close. Kyle's level 4 running Heavens gets Ice Shard Blizzard, Harmonic Convergence, which is great for all those 2-up armor save dudes. Comet and Chain Lightning. And again, Chain Lightning and Comet are going to be really dangerous. Well, all these spells are really good from in this matchup. Chain Lightning, I'm really tightening it. If he gets that off, it's going to hit like 4 or 5 units. It's going to be nuts. Comet obviously is going to hurt because again, I'm pretty bunched up. Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see how these pan out for him. For Vanguards, I don't have any Vanguarders. He has got 2 units of Yeomen and those Peg Knights. He kind of slides them over a little bit or moves them up just a wee bit. Not that big of a deal. His Peg Knights he leaves right where they are, hiding behind those woods. He actually deployed before me, but he's Bretonnian, so he decides to pray, and I decide to take the first turn. And to start first turn, well, I'm not going to be doing any charges, but Beastmen ambush these Ungor Raiders that I held back. Roll a 5 on the table. That would be my right. So we kind of figure out that how I would be looking at the table. This would be my right side. They come in right in front of that trebuchet, and they're going to shoot at it this turn, hopefully charge it next. The rest of movement, again, he has the luxury of being having a much deeper deployment zone than 12 inches because we're running the long way. So he's got those trebuchets way back there. Even his lances are just, can kind of hang back and pick their targets when they want them. He's got enough chaff here and some shooting, so I'm going to have to kind of peel back the layers of this onion. Not having much to do tactic-wise movement, I just pretty much move everything up as far as it can go. Here's another look at post Beastmen turn 1 movement. Winds of Magic is 5-3. Again, we started really far apart. There really isn't that much in range. I could snipe one of those mounted yeomen or something like that. I don't really think that's worth it, so I go ahead and I cast Doom and Darkness on this unit here of the Knights. They are close to that trebuchet, which could, I don't know, it's pretty much what I have to do. They're -3 leadership. I know they're Knights Errant, and they have a thing where they have to charge if they can, so maybe that'll be a good deal. We'll have to see. That actually goes off irresistibly on 3 dice, and I get a miscast 8, which does a strength 6 hit to me, but it fails to wound, and that pretty much ends my magic phase. The Ungor Raiders who skulked in from the bushes shoot a bunch of shots at this trebuchet and don't do anything. With nothing in combat, we move to Bretonnian turn 1. Bretonnian turn 1, Kyle does not declare any charges. He does a little bit of movement. It's kind of more of a shuffle. The archers all stay put. The pegs stay put. The knights of the realm stay put. He shuffles around his yeoman a little bit, keeping, again, safe charge distances from those chariots. He's being pretty wise about that, leaving me like 11s and stuff. So he's got plenty of space to work with, and he's just playing the game. On his left flank, he takes one of the paladins out of that unit just to kind of get chaffy on me as my stuff's approaching. You can see the archers there on the right side. They attempted to do a swift reform to shoot at those Ungor Raiders, but failed their leadership test and just have to reform. So they're safe for a turn. Winds of Magic is 8-5. He throws a bunch of dice at Comet. I chuck 4 of mine and dispel it. He gets Ice Shard Blizzard off on those Ungor. Hopefully for the next turn they'll be -1 to hit in combat, so that'd be a good deal for them, or not even for shooting, or I don't know. And he chucks the rest of his dice to dispel Doom and Darkness on that unit. Bretonnian shooting phase, he's got 2 trebuchets. The first one scatters wildly off the general's unit, and the second one scatters off the unit of Bestigor with the BSB in it and drifts over and is going to get not a partial hit, but not under the whole hit on that chariot, and that's going to do a wound. His mounted yeoman also let loose a couple shots at some chariots, and he nicks a wound here and a wound there. They're just strength 3. He hits decent, and I can't seem to roll a 4-up armor save to save my life. But a couple wounds on a chariot scattered about, and nothing's in combat, so we move to Beastman turn 2. And being outranged and having all this stuff, I decide he's got, heaven stuff, chain lightning. I need to start getting some points and peeling back the layers of this onion here. My Gorgon, I didn't deploy him very smart. I did a bad job of identifying which characters were which. And, as I'm doing it in the battle report now, it makes more sense. But in the game, I didn't focus on who was what with what and where. And instead of leaving that Gorgon to get charged by something, or I attempt a long charge on that Knight's Errantry bus there, and I make it. And that's where the general is with heroic killing blow. So that's not a good charge. My other Razor Gore on the bottom there fails the charge to the rear of those archers that turned around to shoot, and my other Razor Gore shoots up into the mounted yeoman in the center. Here's another pick of my Gorgon slamming into the heroic killing blow lord. Whoopee! Um, Everything else just kind of moves up. I didn't get a very good picture. I'll have a post picture coming up here in a second. But yeah, everything just kind of moves up again. I don't have any other good charges besides, I don't even know if these are good ones. But that's all I do. Just kind of trying to close up on these guns and knights. Wounds of Magic is 6 to 3. I throw 3 at Doom and Darkness. He decides to pull his scroll on there. He only has 3 dice, and I get a pretty good roll. My plan there was obviously maybe have these guys fail a terror test or something like that, but that's not going down. And then I throw 3 dice at Caress of Laneth on his caster, and he throws his 3 and dispels irresistibly. He rolls 2 sixes. So on to combat. This Razor Gore before slams into these 5 mounted yeomen. Whiffs, just whiff around. I got 3 attacks, and or 4, whatever. I roll a bunch of 1s, 2s, and 3s, and he takes a wound back for his trouble. I charge. He did a wound. He doesn't have any musician or standard there. That's a tie. So pretty much nothing happens. That's pretty disappointing. In the combat over with the Gorgon and the Knights Errant with the Heroic Killing Blowlord. Heroic Killing Blowlord goes first and just whiff-a-rama. He rolls all 1s and 2s. All of his dice, 1s and 2s. Having survived that, I decide to dump all of my attacks into that Lord. I got 7 of them there with Frenzy, and I hit a couple times. I need 5s. He's got weapon skill 10 armor, and I managed to sneak through 2 on him, and I hang on my stubborn 10. And this is what it looks like after Beastmen turn 2. You can see my Gorgon still hanging on there. He snuck 2 wounds through on the general. Oh, I totally forgot. The Ungors also charged into that trebuchet. He got Ice Shard Blizzard off on him in the last magic phase, and it didn't matter. I passed my Primal Fury on a 6 way out there, and got rid of those guys, or that broke them. It was a good deal. They turned around. You can see everything else just kind of moved up again, and now we're heading into Bretonnia 2. He's got a couple good options here. So Bretonnian turn 2, he charges his paladin here into this Razor Gore. I don't know why I put my chariot behind there. It's just habit, I guess. I typically like to kind of line them up like that and do dual charges on stuff, but that paladin's sitting right there. I just kind of spaced it. Yep, that happened there. This little 2-man paladin character unit slams into this other chariot on the charge, hoping to bust that one up. It had taken a couple wounds before from shooting. Here you can see the rest of movement again. He doesn't, I don't even think he moves anything. He moves his mounted yeoman a little bit, the ones in the top of the woods there. But he's just kind of staying put. He's got magic and trebuchets and stuff, and I'm still a pretty long ways away from him. So Bretonnian wins is pretty strong. It's 11 to 6. He throws 4 dice at Chain Lightning and rolls a 24 when adding his wizard level. It doesn't go off irresistibly, but I burn my scroll here. I don't want that going off. He throws 3 dice at a comet and he only rolls 8 plus his wizard level is 12. That's just enough to get it off. I roll 3 dice trying to dispel it, and I roll a 1, 1, and a 2. So he gets to put the comet down, and I'm done dispelling, or I lose my +4. He gets Ice Shard Blizzard off on this Gorgon, and he also gets Harmonic Convergence off on the Knights Errant unit there. So he sneaks those last couple through, having extra dice, and me no +4 to dispel. Shooting phase, his archers and yeomen shoot at this chariot, and I just can't make. It's all strength 3, and I just can't roll a 4 up on these strength 3 wounds to save my life. He takes a couple wounds. The trebuchet in the back, I believe, drifts off my general's unit again. Here, the Razor Gore finally does better. I don't remember if he failed the fear test here or what, but the Razor Gore ends up killing three dudes, and he puts a wound back on him, but he manages to stick. I think he is in range of the General or the BSB or something, and they end up sticking. That little primed white model you see there is where he placed his comet that he got off to. Super blurry photo, but you guys get the gist here. That heroic killing blow guy just, yep, he gets some hits through and does that Gorgon in, dead. And these two paladins mess up this chariot over here pretty bad. One's got a lance, well, they both got lances on the charge. One of those has a Morning Star for backup plan, but they dispatch him no problem. I think I sneak. I do end up getting, I think, a wound on each one back. My great weapon guy and my spear guy, or one of my Tuskors, stinks a wound, but I think they each take one wound. And on the other side, pretty much straight at the top of the table, I didn't get a pick, but the paladin that charged into the Razor Gore, I think they play a little patty cake. The great weapon guy can't quite get it done against the Razor Gore. He flupses to hit rolls or something, and I don't really do anything back, but that ends up holding. This is what it looks like after top of 3. Excuse me, you can see the paladin still in combat with that Razor Gore. The two paladins that had beat up on that chariot on the other flank there, they just kind of reformed like that. I got my stuff kind of set up for angles from the prior turn because I was smart. You can see the little white guy almost dead center of the table. That's where he put that comet. That's could go off in my magic phase. And both his lances are hanging tight there, just waiting to crash into something. It's my plan, that even at the beginning of the game, was just to get one of my blocks of Bestigor involved with one of those lances and come in with some support Razor Gore and chariots from the side. But his little archery stuff and just little plinky wounds are just taking the tolls on the chariots, and it's throwing a wrench in my plans. And there's just too much space here. So this chariot is going to charge into the rear of these archers that turned around to shoot Ungors in a turn pass. And with the comet there, I actually slid it over exactly 6 inches perpendicular down on the table there to make way for my unit of Bestigor to crash into those mounted yeomen. I'm going to help that guy out. I know I can't overrun, but I just can't sit there. I know I can't overrun into the units because he's got enough space there. Again, there's just too much space. But I'm going to be able to hopefully make a little more space between me and that comet. It's a thing. I just need to get in his face, so any amount of movement is good, I guess. And other charges, I do my little angles here pretty darn good. I charge my one chariot into those 5 yeomen in the pretty much center of the stage there. My chariot to the right misses a charge on the archers there with the brazers. They stand and shoot at it and like get 2 more wounds, so I can't roll a 4-up armor save to save my life. It's just strength 3 and he's getting, some wounds through, and I cannot roll a 4-up. It's just 1s and 2s everywhere. It's kind of the theme for this game here in the early turns, but my other chariot makes it into those 2 paladins, so hopefully we can do some stuff there. Beginning of the phase, the comet goes off and it's going to explode in a pretty large radius. Remember, to where it is right now, it's pretty much 6 inches over. It would pretty much be like the last guy in that unit of Bestigor if he were still alive, but that ends up killing a bunch of stuff. It takes off 4 or 5 guys from the one Bestigor unit there in the woods. I think it kills 8 or 9 from the other unit of Bestigor. It kills my Razor Gore in combat, and yeah, it just does a ton of damage and then goes away. So no one makes a panic test for units destroyed or anything like that. Winds of Magic is 4-2. I chuck all 4 at Caress of Laneth on his caster and end up getting 2 wounds through. Yep, that's it. 2 wounds on. So she's got 1 left. Pretty good. Blurry photo, I apologize, but that chariot makes short work of those archers. He does like 5 impact hits, wounds on all of them. I pass my Primal Fury and go to town on them. I overrun 7 inches. Had I got an 8, I would have got into the flank of this this bus, and that would have been something. Would have hopefully kept him away. because I know he's going to be doing some charging here soon. And my chariot with impact hits. I don't know if the impact it ends up killing these two paladins, so that's good. Those two paladins nabbed a chariot, and then I got them back, so that was a pretty good point swing, I think, for me, and I just kept them from doing weird shenanigans. Here you can see the chariot there in the woods that destroyed those 5 mounted yeomen, and reforming or overrunning, it wasn't that big of a deal. I decided to overrun, get in those woods, whatever. Maybe put some pressure on something, or if he wants to charge me, he has to come in the woods. Who knows? Up on the top, very, very top there, you can see that Paladin took care of the Razor Gore and reformed like so. My Ungors are still in that house. They moved in there way earlier in the game and are just kind of hanging out. And there's sitting my Bestigor looking at well, a unit of Knights of the Realm to the front and a unit of Knights Errant in the flank here coming up. And like I said earlier, you can see here this is this is going to be top of Bretonnia 3, what it looks like right before it. It's pretty good. You know, that unit of Bestigor in the center there with my general in it that got hit by the comet, they're staring down a bunch of stuff. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the order of things here, but I do know that he declares a charge with his Knights Errant on the general's unit, and I decide to flee. I'm not gonna be doing this here. I'm hoping that'll push me away, or just kind of get me into safety. I'm not taking a triple charge or whatever the scenario is. I'm not even taking those 2 lances because it's just too much stuff. I flee. And then he charges with some other stuff and it flees and he redirects and does that a whole bunch of times. This is kind of what it looks like after all of his flee stuff. His one peg guy fell down there. But I charge or I flee. My unit of Bestigors ends up fleeing there on the other side of that house. The chariot on the top right ended up fleeing from the peg knights. The chariot in the front's going to hold and take something, and the other chariot you see on the top left there by that little house, that also fled. So I got pretty much a bunch of stuff fleeing. Not that great. You can see the rest of the movement phase. He moves that Paladin that destroyed that Razor Gore over in front of my Bestigor to do some chaffy stuff and keep them out of the way. He set him up at a good angle where it's not going to be able to be an overrun. And the unit of Knights Errant on the left there, they ended up, while charging off the Bestigors, I don't even think he redirected. No, he did, because he failed, and he failed into my Bestigors there. That's why he moved up just a little bit. Here you can see more aftermath of all that Bretonnian charging stuff. Yeah, my Bestigor bounced through the house. My 2 chariots on the top and the bottom of the screen there also ended up getting charged off and fled. He fails a bunch of charges. The peg knights fail their charge and go into the woods. The bottom knights Errant fail their charge on something that fled way far away. And everything's just kind of stranded here. Which again is a-okay. He's got plenty of space there, and it seems like right now it's his whole army against that one unit of Bestigor in the woods. So it's not looking good. I did all that work to try to get in his face, and now he's kind of got me soloed here. But we'll see how it goes. So, Winds of Magic, I don't have it written down here what it was, but I know he throws 3 dice at Comet of Cassandora, and that doesn't score super big, but he manages to cast it, successfully, exceeds the value. I chuck 4 to try and dispel it, and I roll a 1, 1, a 2, and a 3. Again, with that theme, can't quite roll high dice, and that ends up going off, and I'm shut down again. He gets Harmonic Convergence off on something. For shooting phase, these archers shoot more at this chariot, and again, can't make a 4-up roll or anything like that, so that takes a couple more wounds. The Treb actually misfires and cannot shoot this turn or next. So that's pretty decent, I guess. So, Beastmen turn 4. Again, I kind of am a little bit stranded here with no help. My one general's unit completely fled across the board. I got chariots fleeing. I decided to put in some charges here. My unit of Bestigor in the woods is going to charge that Paladin and should take care of him carefully, or easily rather. He positioned him just so that I'm not going to be able to get an overrun on really anything there. So a good move on Kyle's part. My chariot slams into the flank of the Knights Errant bus, and the 2 chariots up top get excuse me, charges into the archers, with the archers on the very top there and the peg knights respectively. The chariot in the forest passes its dangerous terrain. This chariot decides it doesn't want to rally. It's outside of BSB and general zone, so I just fail my leadership 7 and it flees again. The Bestigor that fled with the general in it, they rally no problem and reform like that. I move my Ungors out of the house just for why not? Maybe my Bestigor want to go in that house. Maybe they want to move up. Just keeping my options open. Winds of Magic is 8 to 5. Again, I am way far away from like everything. I'm running Lore of Death. I got the 3 snipe spells and Doom and Darkness. Nothing's even within 24 inches here. So I roll 6 dice at Doom and Darkness on, I don't even remember, something. Anyways, he ends up rolling a couple and dispelling it. There's no shooting. We move right to combat. My chariot slams into the flank of that knight's errantry bus. The impact hits kill the guy in the back. He makes way with his general and attempts to heroic killing blow my chariot. Can't quite get it done. He's only got 1 left. My chariot sneaks through that last wound, so that's pretty cool. I got something out of that. A little bit of revenge for my Gorgon, and he's going to be steadfast here. I charged and flank and did, I think, 2 wounds. He doesn't do anything back to me, but he's got enough combat res here, I think, to carry the day, or maybe he even does sneak a wound through. I don't know, but he's going to be a double 9 or 10 here. Blurry photo, but rolls an 11, and he's going to break, which is super duper cool. So this chariot hopefully can run it down. And here you can see the dice rolls for that. The chariot runs him down, so I nabbed those points. That's big. That's a big, big point swing right there. That was his general and a big unit. I don't know exactly how many points it was, but it was a good chunk. I still have a lot of my points out on the table yet. He's got, shooting and magic still, but that's good. In other combat, my chariot slams into those archers on the top. Doesn't do, does a bunch of wounds on impact hits, but ends up taking its final wound and dying. The chariot that slammed into the peg knights, we kind of smashed stuff around, and I think he ends up sticking, or I end up sticking, but we're still stuck there in the woods. Here you can see top of Bretonnian, or bottom of Bretonnian 4 here. Those Bestigor destroyed that paladin no problem, and again, they didn't have an angle to overrun, but the chariot ran those guys down. He ran him down, but then he gets charged by that Knight of the Realm unit, I believe, at the top of his turn, and ends up redirecting into my Bestigor here. Magic is 8 to 6. He rolls a couple dice at Harmonic. I dispel it. He rolls a couple dice at Ice Shard Blizzard. I get that dispelled. With his last couple dice, he tries to cast Chain Lightning, and he just doesn't get it done. He doesn't roll high enough, and we go to close combat. Again, sorry, blurry photo. We're not quite to close combat yet, but at the top of the magic phase, that comet comes down. He put it right smack dab in the middle of my unit the last turn, and Knight comes down and kills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, like 8 more, 9 more. Just ouch. That unit isn't seeing combat, and it's just getting blown apart by magic, so not good. There's not a lot of shooting. He just got a couple archers. The other trebuchet can't shoot from the misfire. Last turn, the fight between the Knights Errant and the Bestigor is a big giant slap fight. There's no challenges. There's not a lot of wounds. I think he sneaks 1 through on my BSB. No one's really steadfast, but I think it's actually a drawn combat. The Peg Knights end up beating up that chariot, and I believe that's about it. So I didn't get much of any picks here. We entered a frustrating stage of the game for myself, and when I get frustrated or distracted, I kind of have a tendency to forget to take pictures, so I apologize for that. But like I said, the combat before was a slap fight. I believe it continues to be a slap fight. There's no other charges. My guys move up. I get a decent magic phase. I cast Doom and Darkness on that big unit there in combat with the Bestigor. I think he fails to dispel it, and then I get Spirit Leech off on the champion of his Pegasus and end up taking the last wound from him. the other, I don't have really other any shooting. And then in combat here, he's got Doom and Darkness. I do a big deal on him, and I end up winning combat by, I want to say, one or two. No, more than that. I win combat by three, and then he's Doom and Darkness. So he needs to stick on a three, and he rolls his three. So for Bretonnian 5, this is kind of weird. He's just got that one model left, having had the Champ Spirit leeched. He declares a charge on that chariot that was kind of in front of it before. And we didn't know how to order these things, but it made sense. He ends up, I fled. He ended up catching it, but then he has to roll dangerous terrain because he's coming out of the woods, and he rolls a 1 and fails his ward save. So he's technically dead. So we played it. We put the chariot back, and we took this guy off the field. We're pretty sure that's how it works. If you know any different, I mean, it just made sense, the order of operations, that he would die from dangerous terrain before he catches that chariot. If it's different, leave a message in the dealie and let me know what you think about that. And super blurry photo here, those men-at-arms get the charge off on the rallied chariot from before, so that's not going to be good. I was actually really glad here that he didn't take them into the flank of those Bestigor. I know it would have been a flank. I wouldn't have had that many attacks there, but between his ward saves, he's getting, his DC, he's got good armor. I'm strength 6, but between, he's getting like 5 up over here on those knights, which is pretty good. And I'm passing my Primal Fury, but I didn't want him in the flank. He decides to charge here, which is a good deal for me, I think. Winds of Magic is 10-6. Again, he's getting some good rolls here. He puts a Comet of Cassandora down, pretty much kind of right by my general's unit to try to, finish those guys off. They haven't done much this turn, or this entire game rather, and it's not looking that good for them. Believe, let's see, I can't think of what else he gets off. This is actually the top of my 6, I believe. You can see the shooting, the trebuchet, I believe, just missed. No, that was from last turn. It couldn't shoot. This is top of 6. You can see those men-at-arms on the left overran. They beat that chariot with, I don't even think they did a wound. Maybe they did one wound, but then with combat res, they just took it out, and they ended up running it down. It can't pursue off the edge of the table. We play more patty cake in the center there. I can't get anything done on them. They're still Doom and Darkness, though, because his magic phase, you can see the white guy there is the Comet. He threw a couple dice at some other stuff. Chain Lightning, maybe? I don't know. But he had his couple dice left, and he goes to dispel Doom and Darkness, and he manages to roll low enough. I think he even rolled like 3 dice, I think. He just rolled low. So they're still Doom and Darkness did, if that's a thing. Again, I apologize for lack of photos here at the end, but this is still, again, that top of 6 photo, but we're still in the bottom of Bretonnian 5. No shooting. That trebuchet couldn't do anything. It misfired, or the other turn. We go to combat, and those men-at-arms overrun the Razorgore and take care. They overrun there. We end up playing a giant thing of patty cake in the middle there. Even with Doom and Darkness being on, no, it has nothing to do with Doom and Darkness. Combat's just a straight draw. Musicians and everything. Just straight draw. So we just hang tight there a turn. I move. Yeah, that's going to be it for that. So this is going to be top of my 6. Again, I don't really have a picture, but I move my Bestigors up as far as possible to get away from that Comet. Magic, I get a decent roll, but there's really nothing to do here. They already have Doom and Darkness, and I got snipes. I snipe off a couple of those archers, and they actually end up panicking, running through that trebuchet. They roll like a 12 to do their thing. This is another picture. I'm sorry, but I'm just kind of running low on time and photos. They move up like that. The combat, again, we play patty cake. He ends up sneaking a wound through on my BSB this time around. And I end up winning by 1 or 2, and he needs a 3 again with Doom and Darkness still on him, and he sticks on that 3. So I'm really frustrated at this point. I want to take this unit out, and it's just not happening. Anyways, we go to bottom of 6 here, and you can see Kyle tries to cast. There's nothing going on. His archers run off the table, and his Treb can't shoot, and his men-at-arms just kind of reform, and there's nothing else going on except for the combat in the middle. He IFs. He's got 3 dice in his magic phase, 3-2. He rolls 2 dice Shard Blizzard that's going to go off, and he gets a miscast 8. Believe that is wounds everywhere around him, and he kills off a bunch of dudes. We go into combat, and I need rerollable fives to hit here, but so with Ice Shard Blizzard and yeah, rerollable fives here with the Ice Shard Blizzard, I end up he punks my BSB for his last wound finally. I end up doing a couple wounds. He killed a bunch of guys, so he has no extra ranks. I got static combat res here. He ends up breaking. His BSB then dies, and so does the standard bear. The lone lady left is by herself. She escapes. We call it here. That pretty much, it's the end of 6. I mean, that's the end of the game. He's got his Treb, and that lady left. And I have my 2 big units still got all their points, and my general, and I believe I got a chariot and my 2 units of Ungor. So it's a decent win here. Thanks again for watching. It was a blast. This was for Malorians around the world in 12 games. Beastmen are always fun. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.